I haven't had any time to do any research, but seeing all them ETFs that John and Elijah been posting, I'm like, I think might be time to start a portfolio, but I don't know much about them. Oh, and VOO too. I've been looking at both of those.
Are you talking about just the traditional triple Qs from Invesco?
Yep, just normal business. You know what I mean?
Oh, okay. Oh, okay. Yeah, then if you were looking at that and make just like a 3 fund portfolio, is that what you're talking about? What you've been looking at?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's no brainer. That's easy. Yeah, if you want to put VOO or SPLG, that's the straight street S&P 500 ETF, and it has a lower cost basis of only 2 basis points instead of 3. So it's actually a better deal, and the share price is a lot cheaper. Each share is only about $60 as compared to VOO. So I know it doesn't really matter since we can do fractional shares, but I would rather have 300 shares of something than 200 than 10 or 12 shares of VOO. So that's just me. But with the triple Qs, if you want to add that, look into the QQQM, which is also Invesco. It's the same fund, but it has a lower cost basis, where instead I believe it's 15 basis points instead of the 20, whatever the triple Qs is. I can't think of it offhand, but that's the one I would go with. If it's just you're just holding it for a long time, QQQM would be the one. And then if you're going to put a dividend ETF with it, I would check out SCHD or FDVV, the Fidelity, or DGRO, the other popular dividend growth ETF. I would check out those 3. And I'm actually going to I'm working on a post right now on 4 different dividend growth ETFs that I'm going to post hopefully tomorrow if X gets fixed, because I'm not going to post it if no one can talk on it or get any views or anything like that.
I got you. Well, let me know. That's some good information. I'll be looking out for that post, and I'm gonna go and pull my laptop out and start digging in while I listen to you guys. But I'm definitely interested. I'm learning a lot here. Like I know I come from crypto, but I always had my hands on a little bit of everything. But those ETFs always been at the back of my brain, and not the ETFs, but the index funds and all those things like that. I learn a lot from like all perspectives. So I'm like, it might be wise for me to open up a different perspective and have like a actual retirement account versus just having it all in Bitcoin and just
Oh
have
yeah.
like different diversifications.
Yeah, absolutely. That's the thing to do. Just have a little bit. I just have a little tiny gold and silver account I have just for certain times just to have it, and I have a little bit of my Bitcoin. Even though I'm not, I've learned a lot from y'all because I like listening to what digital says and when ProLogic is talking about Bitcoin and everything, because I'm not that familiar with it, so I'm always learning, and I like to have a little bit of everything, even though my main focus is my dividend and income ETFs. But it's nice to have a diversified portfolio.
Hey, yo, no, I'm the same way, man. And I'm just like venture. I started off with crypto too, and started venturing into the stocks and ETFs, and I've learned a lot from y'all, man. Um, and like the thing with crypto, bro, it's like it gets so volatile at times. It's like when I'm in the stocks and I'm looking at when the stock people are tripping about the dips in that sector, it ain't nothing to me. Crypto has definitely made me very resilient to the fluctuations of the market. Because we're used to seeing like 20% dips, you know what I'm saying, 30, 40, and then it bouncing back, you know what I'm saying? So that's one of the reasons I started looking into, more stable investments on top of it. Because, being all in on crypto, it gets rough at times, you know what I'm saying? Because it takes one little bad news or swan event and it could just flip your portfolio upside down. So like, the ETFs and stocks are a little more stable. So it's nice, like you said, it's very good to have a diversified portfolio for sure, for those reasons especially. And with the ETFs, it's like the passive income version of it is always intrigued me. There's some crypto you can do what's called staking, and you can earn some sort of passive income with it, but it's still like you got to be careful with that because people get hacked, drained, you know, depending on what devices and everything you use, because not every cold storage device even supports staking and all that. So it's like a little more sketchy to stake your crypto than it is to like just put your money in an ETF for passive income.
Oh yeah, absolutely, absolutely. And you're right about the volatility with just Bitcoin, because I look at Bitcoin. I don't look at Ether that much, but every once in a while. But you have swings in Bitcoin where it'll go down 30% in 2 weeks, and then a week later it's ripping up 40%. Like right now, let me ask you this: with the regular equity market selling off last week, Bitcoin has been on going the other way, which is sort of, that's what it's supposed to do if I'm correct, right? So what do you think is causing Bitcoin to rip right now when equity markets are selling off a little bit last week?
Yeah, so what I'm noticing is like, especially since 2025, bro, we've had a lot more adoption than ever before. You know what I'm saying? So it's like the fact Bitcoin has its cap supply and everything, plus you got, you know, BlackRock, Michael Saylor, and all these major companies buying it up. It's definitely adding a stability to it. And just like you said, you know, I can tell you've been looking into it because like Bitcoin was definitely made to do the opposite when it comes to like, you know, the money printing and all that kind of stuff and be a hedge against inflation. You know what I'm saying? So situations like this is really what gets Bitcoin going. And I feel like a lot more people are starting to realize like, hey, maybe Bitcoin is a good hedge against inflation and all this other stuff going on. And people are starting to not just buy, but hold a lot longer. You know, the long-term holders and people moving it off of their exchanges into their cold storages, that stuff's growing very rapidly. So yeah, I think it's a mixture of the adoption and you know, people understanding it more and you know, holding it longer because that cap supply. I don't think there's anything else that has a fixed supply like Bitcoin that you can even invest in that they can't just wake up and start printing, you know, or you know, splitting shares or you know, whatever it may be. You know, I think people are starting to wake up to it more. Hey, what's good, Prolific? I'm gonna send you a request too. But yeah, that's dope. Seeing that. When did you get into Bitcoin? Was it recently or?
Oh no, I actually bought some Bitcoin in 2020 when I had a Robinhood account and you could buy Bitcoin just on the app back before there was regulation, where I remember I would buy $200 of Bitcoin, and then once it would go up and I would make $50 or $100, then I would sell $50 or $100 and buy $50 or $100 of Tesla back in 2020. And I did that 3 times. And then finally they started regulating it where they said that you can't do that anymore. You have to cold storage it or buy it. Similar to what you talked about on your YouTube video with Coinbase. So I ended up just selling all of it and buying Tesla at the time. But recently, last year, whenever they were talking about bringing the ETF, the spot ETF public, I bought the Maxi. It's the first really income ETF in November of 2023. I bought that. It was in 2023, and I've held it since until a couple months ago. I actually sold my position out on it and took profit and put that money in BTCI, the NEO's income Bitcoin ETF, which I really like because you get growth with it and you get a steady monthly income. It's right around 28%. So that's been a really nice ETF in my portfolio. And just like what we talked about last week, even though my equity markets have sold off, my Bitcoin position has gone up, which is a nice, it's nice to have a little bit in there. It's cool.
Yeah, that's dope. And you said BTCI. I think I just recently seen something about that. I just recently found out about that one. So yeah, I definitely want to check that out. I didn't even know until recently that they had it's an ETF, right? Is it an ETF?
Yeah, it's the NEO's, the same company that runs the QQQI and the SPI and the newer IYRI is the real estate income ETF. But yeah, they've had that since. Oh, I can look it up. Hold on. Yeah, they launched it in October of 2024. So it already has 250 million total assets. So it's a very popular ETF. And right now it's around a 28% dividend yield. So you get the exposure of Bitcoin and you get a nice monthly income every month. It's neat. Since inception, it's up 46% is what it's showing me right now through the ups and downs.
That's dope, bro. I appreciate that. Look, you done put me up on some Bitcoin game because I didn't even know that ETF existed, bro. That's dope. And it goes to show you, bro. See, that's another thing, man. Like the things and opportunity Bitcoin itself has been putting on the table for all these companies and everything is just off the hook. And the growth just keeps growing, bro. Like there's a lot of companies that just put it on their balance sheets and they start growing, you know what I'm saying? And getting a lot more adoption and everything behind it. And that's another thing I've been paying attention to, when thinking about Bitcoin is like a long-term hold, is because like, one of the terms that they say is swim with the whales, which is the institutions, the Black Rocks, all those people, they're putting everything on the line behind it. And, that comes with their reputation if they're wrong. So it's got to speak some kind of volume, if they're all diving in and creating all these ETFs and stocks and putting it on their balance sheets like that. You know what I mean? It's like they obviously know some shit, and I'd rather swim with them than get left behind. But yeah, the BTCI, that's dope. I'm definitely gonna check that out.
Oh yeah, and another positive, another plus about this is with the volatility of Bitcoin. If you're a long holder, you don't have to worry about timing it and worrying about buying it because if you're getting your income monthly, it's going to reinvest at different price points. So that's going to help you out in the volatility out of your holdings over time too. And whenever you decide that you need the income, you hit the button and you don't ever have to sell your Bitcoin. You'll still have your Bitcoin and plus you'll get your monthly income every month.
Yeah, that's dope, man. I love the way that sounds. Yeah, I'm definitely gonna dig into that. Hey, Prolific, have you heard of the BTCI? Yo, Prolific, can you hear me?
Yes, I have. Yeah, give me 1 second, brother. I'm on the phone right now. Give me 1 second.
Oh yeah, no, yeah, no problem. My bad, my bad.
No, no, it's all good. It's all good. I'm here though, but give me 1 second.
Yeah, for sure, no problem. Hey, what's good, Elijah, man? How you doing?
Doing good. Just chilling from the gym. I got my leg compressions, and I'm about to just let my legs recover because they are barking.
Oh, I feel it, man. How was it? A good little gym sesh though, or what?
Yeah, for sure. It was pretty cool. It was decent runs back to back. So it was the good flow finally after like the first two games. Everybody was just arguing just nonstop. So after that, it was actually pretty solid.
Oh, I feel it. I feel it.
Yo, yeah, my bad, bro. So yeah, man, that the BTCI thing. Yeah, I heard a couple of things about them. I'm not a big fan about those things, honestly. I'd rather do all the work myself than if you trust them and stuff. That's a big thing. But yeah, or they're just basically trading in the background. So they're just using your funds, trading, paying you out, and doing a bunch of things. Great stock if you believe in the companies that are doing these things. But if they mess up and you don't know how to time things correctly, regardless, or you just become a little bit comfortable with certain situations, yeah, you could get eaten up by these proxies of Bitcoin. Especially that none of these guys really understand Bitcoin. They're just looking at it as a money play at this moment right now.
Yeah, I feel it. Yeah, it's kind of a risk with anything within the market. But no, I feel you. Yeah, I was just curious because I never heard of that until recently. Um,
Yeah, this
shoot.
I think there's roughly current out to date right now. I think there's roughly about 67 proxies to Bitcoin in the stock market. So and they're evolving pretty much every day. So you're gonna hear a lot, like, and they're gonna continuously come out. So, but that's all it is that you're giving them the Bitcoin. Most of these dudes is they're gonna give you a percentage of whatever it is because they're trading in the background. But if one of these guys goes down, hedge funds make a wrong decision, any economic environments that they uh, didn't calculate, didn't foresee, didn't do anything with, like, you're putting a lot within their hands. Now, if you're somebody that has millions and millions of dollars, you just want a little bit of exposure to Bitcoin, and this ain't a play that isn't gonna hurt you too bad. Then yeah, that for a passive short term play, yeah, this could be something good if you know what you're doing. But I wouldn't be putting all my eggs in one basket, or I would, just a little bit more diversification and understanding what you're doing, especially with these proxies, and maybe even getting your time management down to see if you could hop in and out and be able to just, you know, not have so much exposure to them just fucking with your money.
Yeah, I feel it. So you pretty much saying like, if anything, just pay attention and maybe not put everything into it. Like your whole put all your eggs in one basket type of deal.
Yeah, like everything is like it, especially now while Bitcoin is trading sideways and stuff like that. Like if you have no trading experience and you're just sitting here holding it, like there's an opportunity, but there's also an opportunity if the bull market does continue. You're kind of letting you you're letting 50% go out instead of trying to collect 80%. I mean, excuse me, 8% for your yearly or whatever percentage that they're giving you on a monthly basis. Like there's a lot of math that goes into you just giving that fund away. It's just hard to explain, bro. Like there's many levels to that game, so you gotta just just measure out every instance of what could be done in the game. Because as of right now, I feel like I spoke about this a couple of times. I feel like this is 2017 with the ICO phases with crypto when we first came out with crypto and Ethereum and everything with these shit coins, and everybody selling you these dreams and giving you percentages and telling you to put your Bitcoin here and go bankless. And we kind of heard all of this within the crypto realm before, and everybody fucked up and they failed, and a lot of people lost their Bitcoin. So I think the same thing will happen to these. They just like to throw around shiny objects and be like, well, if we do go bankrupt, investors will be the first one to get their money and stuff. Like it doesn't even sound right in the long run. Like how investors are gonna get your money when you're already going bankrupt. Like it is crazy.
Yeah, no, I feel you on that. I feel it. So just proceed with caution. Um, how you
But
feeling
see,
about? Go ahead. Go
everything
ahead.
with the investing is caution, bro. You know that. Just
Oh
all
yeah,
caution with everything.
for sure, for sure. How do you feel about Bitcoin hitting a new high?
Oh man, shit. Bitcoin hitting a new high. Yeah. I mean, it's inevitable. Like I said, I just feel like a lot of people are not putting in a lot of the math right now, and they're like, "Oh, it's going up," and we've been talking about this for a couple of years already with this whole entire bits and satoshis and everything like that. Like, they're gonna play games with the Ponzi that I just don't see it going any. I don't see it going to where people want it to go, bro. The ETFs are just they're gonna put stagnation on Bitcoin's growth, especially if people are looking at it from a price perspective. Um, they got everybody on board and through these ETFs right now. there's little exposure to actual Bitcoin's price movement going on. Even these companies right now, these companies that we're talking about, they're trading. They're just going to create the volatility for Bitcoin. So all the coins are off damn near exchanges. What we got, like 1.8 million coins left on exchanges. Like we're at an all-time low right now. Like we have to start getting into the perspective of selling MSATs. And Michael Saylor and all these dudes that are sitting at the top of the game right now are pretty much at the best position to start selling these MSATs. And yeah, I think we got growth, but not the growth that everybody's really, really expecting.
I got you. So are you saying you don't think it's going to push much higher right now, or what?
Oh, no, 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 no. I definitely think that we still got more room, especially as these proxies start loading up. But as they start getting more and more saturated, I feel like that's where Bitcoin is gonna, you know, have a little bit of stagnation. And as people start falling off of that wheel, that's when more volatility will start coming into Bitcoin at that point. But right now, everybody's gearing up to pretty much try to, you know, pull some type of okey doke to get into Bitcoin. To get into Bitcoin and take them for all that they got right now. And like I said, man, these dudes having all this power and all this stuff right now, I definitely don't. I actually just posted out a long ass tweet. Like I don't think the problem is the money. I don't ever think the problem was ever the money. I think the problem was always the problem between employer and employee. Like I believe that there's a slave mechanism between there. So it's like if I if I own a company and I can't incentivize my people, if I'm only going to give them $20 an hour, but I'm not going to give them a piece of my pie, you know what I'm saying? Like of something that we're creating. I feel like that's going to always be the disconnect with people. Like no matter what kind of money comes into play or anything like that, it's always going to be the situation of somebody dictating how much you are worth in this world, especially if they hold more chips than you. And that's my biggest fear right now with Bitcoin is that most of these dudes hold a lot of chips. These dudes are the ones who paved the way. They the ones who dictate the prices. And while we're sitting around talking about inflation, money, and doing this and looking for sovereign safety and bullshit like this, I feel like the real question is, you know, who's gonna fix this system of employer versus employee?
Yeah, no, I feel you, man. And it's a trip how like quick the tables flipped once all those companies and what do you call it, asset managers started accumulating because the percentages they're owning of the Bitcoin is wild, bro, and especially how fast, like they're literally competing to see who can get the most of it. Um, oh yeah, go ahead, Elijah.
That's why I was kind of really skeptical of all these companies trying to adopt Bitcoin too. I'm not really like into Bitcoin. I'm still learning about it. But watching from the outside in, it's a little kind of like suspicious that like, oh, everybody, like all the big companies, all the asset managers are just trying to hop in and try to just gather as much as they can. And so like for me, seeing that, I'm like, something's going on that we don't know or we can't see. And so for me, that's very just like suspicious overall that you have all these companies creating like these ETFs promising all these crazy like percentages back, you get your money back, like all of this stuff. And I'm just like, something just doesn't sound right with that. And so that's why I'm kind of just like still learning and then just trying to just see how it really plays out. Cause like everybody's like hyping up Michael Saylor, but at the same time, I'm like, something's not right here. Like something is not sitting right with how this process is going with Bitcoin. And everybody's just buying and buying and buying. I think like people are just like right now too much into the hype and not seeing the smoke that's being blown in their face yet.
No, I feel you, and you're right to think that, bro, because Bitcoin started off to be the opposite, which was like anti-government and everything. So, it's crazy to see that. And it is definitely concerning, and we all know the government don't always have the best intentions with things. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, no, I feel you completely on that. That's real talk, bro. Like You're smart, man. I like the way you analyze things. You know what I'm saying? That's good stuff right there. So yeah, you know what you're doing, dog. That's what's up, dog.
Yeah, I want to jump in and say, pull everything that Eli said is right about being cautious, and Prolific is right too about everything that's coming out. Just make sure you crunch your numbers and you understand what you're doing and what position size that you're going to allocate to anything, and if it's just Bitcoin or if it's a certain stock. Just know what you own and why you own it.